number 25, Mr. Zac Fisher. He's a fan favorite. He really is the fish. He had a great preseason last year from the reports. Then he had the syndesmosis injury. I think it was Dylan Grimes that fell onto his ankle in round one, and then we just didn't see him for a big chunk of the year. And in a funny way, the COVID break helped him get back into the season and play some games. And I felt like he matured last year. That was the overall feeling from me. What are you looking at for Fish in 2021 as we know he's now the small forward?
I think what we saw yesterday showed us what Fish is capable of. There was a lot of conjecture from opposition fans because he was one of the players that was rated elite in our team. And a lot of people with the champs data were like, what does that? He's not elite. But if you actually look at Fisher's numbers from when he returned as a small forward, he is top 10 in the competition in his position. You look at what he brings. It's not just the goals he brings, it's his score involvements, the pressure. He's a modern day small forward, and you saw it yesterday. His ability to work in tight spaces is phenomenal. So I expect him to go up a level. I wouldn't be surprised to see 25, 30 goals come from Zac Fisher's boot alone. He's a very crafty player, and if we're going to play one less tall, like we did yesterday, we didn't have our usual influx of talls. He's got the skill level. He's got the creativity. You see bets rubbing off on him, the way he twists and he turns the snap. I'm excited about Fisher, and I think he's a very good player, and I'm loving his hair.
Yeah, I like the fact that we've got a couple of guys now who are in this forward line who, in any other team, in another situation, could be full-time midfielders. So we're talking about the Gibbons, the Murphy, the Fisher, the Cunningham, even the Jack Martin to a degree. So I'm looking forward to seeing the link-up play. I think that's what you touched on just then. Fisher's really good in the link-up play for goals. He might not be the direct handball to the goal, but he'll be the handball to the assist. And I remember Phil Jackson in his book, 11 Rings, talked about he used to give a lot of praise to the guy who would make the pass to the assist. And that's kind of something I see from these 4 or 5 midfield forward guys. And
you saw the goal Cunningham had.
Spot on.
Fisher could have done that. He had enough pace, but what did he do? He drew the defender, handballed it over him. Cunningham had no one in front of him and could just walk in.
Yep.
That is footy smarts. And, as the old saying goes, you can't teach that.
Yeah, it's true. Shad, if we can get a heat map up, what we've got here is we're going to look at Fisher's game against the Bombers. Dan, before we continue, Dan has gone through this game. You've watched it at 0.5 times speed and taken everyone's stats and created these heat maps. So that's phenomenal. But if we have a look at Fisher here, we have a look at what he did in this practice match against the Bombers. What's this telling you? This is really just telling you that this is a small forwards heat map.
It's sending us a small forwards heat map. It's telling us as well that if you look at his heat map as well, how he interacts, he has a lot of them in the hot zones of the AFL world. And I thought his game was exceptionally creative as well. Like, it's a better game than what them stats project as well, because the involvement, he was in just about everything, and he made it very hard as well for that exit kick. If you actually, even though there wasn't the tackle numbers there, you look at his proximity to anyone in defensive 50. I think there's some things that stats don't tell us, and that's something just by watching it in 0.5 speed over 6 hours. Saw a lot of him in slow-mo. He's always there. And I think these are the kind of numbers we can expect, quite high touch numbers as well for a small forward. He's a crafty little player, and I think he's very underrated, and very underrated is good for us because it means he's not going to get the attention, so he's going to hurt people.
So what's the expectation of him this year? I think you mentioned it before. You can see him kicking 25 to 30 goals. I'm looking more at, at the end of the year, if he's averaging 1.5 goals a game, because I can see him having a game like against the Eagles where he kicks his 3 or he kicks his 4. Then I can also see him having a game where he might not kick 1, but he might have 3 or 4 goal assists. So overall, is there a target as a small forward you're looking for him to kick for you and for you guys at home as well? What are you seeing with Fisher this year?
I want to see 25 goals minimum. And I want to see the score involvements. I want to see him do what he did against Essendon, where he's looking, he struck me, and you touched on Phil Jackson, he struck me as his mentality was very basketball-esque, and it was get the job done, just get the score. It doesn't matter if I kick the snag, it doesn't matter if you do. And he seemed very dedicated on doing that. That Cunningham handball,
Mm.
that made me happy, because one thing Carlton forwards do is they take it on themselves sometimes and you get angry.
Yeah.
He looked then, you saw him stop, and he was thinking about the shot, but he just goes, bob the handball over,
Yeah.
get 6.
Do the team
So
thing.
I want to see them scoring involvements. I want to see Matt Murphy, particularly, and Fisher looking to actively guarantee 6 points.
Yep. Let's have a look at what the people are saying. Alexander says he played terrific in the scratch match. He provides great pressure, silk, and goal-scoring threat. I liked the Fisher-Cunningham partnership in the forward line. Did not expect that partnership, to be honest. There's another one in there as well. It's the Fisher-Harry partnership. I think that's going to be something we'll talk a bit more about as the year goes on. They're both left-footers. They both, I would assume, have an understanding of how left-footers move and where they like the ball. And I, just looking at that heat map that you gave us as well, he had a lot of, well, that red zone was right at the top of the goal square. That's exactly what we need from him.
You want him
Reading
to
the play.
live. You look at someone like Mears for Geelong,
Mm.
he lives at the feet of his bigs, just
Mm.
waiting for the crumb.
Yeah.
And that's what he did well yesterday, Fisher.
Mm-hmm. Emilio says, I remember when we drafted Fisher, Sauce had seen him kick 4 goals in the half at under 18s level, and he said that's all he needed to see. So that could have been a sign of things to come. Fisher is a small forward. Yeah, look, 20 goals minimum for me. I think he's capable of pushing to 25, 30, but I mean, it's his first year in the role. I think obviously being the versatile team that we are, I can still see him playing some minutes up the ground, but yeah, I think that's reasonable. I would have him in our best 22, 100%. I think he's really elevated himself, and like I said, there's this maturity to him now. He's not quite the little boy anymore. Little, skinny little boy. He's put 3 or 4 kilos on in this preseason alone, is what we've been told. And
He's
I'm
got
excited.
swag as well.
Yeah,
I don't often use that word, and I feel dirty using it, but
spunk. He's got a little.
Chutzpah. But I watch him play, and he just has that persona now of a superstar.
Yeah, he's confident.
He's got a little bit of arrogance about
So
him.
he should.
The hair,
Yeah,
as well. I'm loving the hair. He looked like he's like a superstar in the making.
Yeah, I think we shun guys that think highly of themselves in this country as a whole. I think we
I come from a soccer background. Like, by now, he should have his own shirt repair and hair wear. Like, I'm disappointed he hasn't. But no,
the clothing line.
he feels like he believes he belongs, and that to me is dangerous.
100%. So there we go. That's Zac Fisher.